Hey guys, Claudia here from the Bookkeeping Experts. We're back for one more week of education with QuickBooks Online. Today we're going to talk about categorization and the importance of categorizing your transactions correctly for the accuracy of your financials. So if you categorize it correctly in banking, your financials are more likely to be correct. If not, it's not going to be correct. So here we go. Without much further ado, we're going to go straight to QuickBooks Online. And there it is. Okay, here is our sample company. And we're going to talk about the first thing that you may ask is that do I categorize the credit card first or do I categorize the checking account first? It doesn't really matter, but I sometimes prefer to take care of the credit card because there is less transactions. So it's easier to do the credit card first and then move into the checking account. Now, we're talking about an account that has multiple credit card and checking accounts. And sometimes I pay the credit card or pay the credit card from the checking account, so we have transfer across. So how do we categorize that? That's one of the things we're going to address. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the income transaction here for American Express, and we know that this payment is going to come from the checking account. So how do we categorize that? So QuickBooks sometimes is going to try to pair it with the account. I don't like to use pairing, and I don't like to use credit card payment because sometimes it duplicates this transaction. So what I like to do is just record as a transfer into checking account. And I'm just going to add here. And I'm going to duplicate this page here by bringing the mouse into the top, right clicking my mouse and duplicating this page. So I bring the mouse all the way to the tab, right click on it and then click on duplicate. Okay, and here I'm going to look for this transaction on the checking account. So it was on November 27th and it was for $300. So I should see a withdrawal for $300 here around the 27th, and there it is. See that? So I can match this transaction. So this is the best way to deal with transfers because this way we avoid duplication. You can do it as a credit card payment, but it has given the software has given a lot of problems with that. So okay, let's talk about meals. There's different kinds of meals. One says meals and entertainment, the other one says meals, and the other one say catered meals and meals with client. So why do I want to differentiate that? First of all, meals is 50% deductible, but catered meals is 100% deductible. Catered meals means that you are buying food for the office, for instance, or maybe you're sponsoring a party for your clients or your employees. But basically, it's catered meals. It's a buy meals for the office. And things like that. So that's why we call them catered meals, and it's 100% deductible. Entertainment nowadays is no longer deductible. So if you're going, even if you're taking a client to a ball game, it is not going to be a deduction to you at all anymore. It used to be a deduction, no longer a deduction. So you want to make sure if you have it on your reports, meals and entertainment, that you separate those meals as one thing, entertainment as something else, because meals will be 50% deductible. Entertainment is not deductible. Okay. All right. So another thing that is important to know is that so when you're categorizing everything else, you want to make sure that you put the name of the vendor. Okay, it is very crucial. So you can click over here and then put the name of the vendor. Now, if for some reason this transaction will always be the same thing, right? Then you can create a rule. So, and that's why I'm going to create a rule for this one. So This one is meals, and I'm going to create a rule, and I'm going to call it PF chain. And I can leave it, as far as the credit card, I can leave it just as a credit card, or I can choose all bank accounts. When I choose all bank accounts, no matter which account is going to show up, is going to categorize as long as it contains PF chain. I can add conditions as well to the rules. We have a video specifically on rules. You can watch that. And then the payee is very important. I want to make sure that I put the name of the payee. If you don't put the name of the payee, then it's going to categorize without a payee, and that is a problem. Okay, so you want to auto add. Sometimes if you really know 100% that this is always going to be the same thing, you can auto add. If not, you can turn off the auto add so that it can categorize, but it's not going to auto add. Okay, all right, just one transaction here, but in the future it's always going to be the same thing. So all right, so here I can put as auto expense or fuel. Okay. And all right. So this is just different kinds of categories. Now it's important for you, like I said, to choose the right category. Like if you have Amazon, for instance, and there is multiple different kinds of transaction, or even Best Buy. Best Buy could be office expense. It could be maybe office expense would be expense, but maybe it could be a computer that is worth more than $2,500, and that is going to be capitalized, so it's an asset instead of an expense. Okay, so keep in mind that if anything that you purchase, any asset that you purchase that is over $2,500, that lasts more than a year, you want to categorize that as an asset and then depreciate it through the years or through the life of that asset. You may ask your CPA for advice, because there are exceptions where you can depreciate a lot faster. However, it depends on a lot of things, and you will need to ask your CPA, but you will categorize that. If it is over 2,500, you will categorize that as an asset and then depreciate it accordingly. All right. So interest expense would, sometimes like this one has a rule and it's fine. If I have a rule and the rule is correct, now look at this rule here. There's a rule that is on auto pay and it's recording as a credit card payment. I don't like that. Okay, sometimes QuickBooks will suggest that you create a rule, but I don't like the rule of record as a credit card. Remember that it duplicates the transaction. It's a problem with the software, with QuickBooks. Hopefully they'll fix one of these days, but so far it is a problem. To fix that rule, I can click on rules here and I can look it by the name, and that is that is according to that transaction. It's a credit card, American Express. American Express. See that there is an auto add for American Express, but it's not the right one. And you can look through the rule names. You can actually, all the headings here are filters, so you can click over here and just suggested. Be careful with the suggested, because a lot of them can create a lot of problems. Some of them are okay, some of them are not. Okay, and what we want to find basically is those rules that are no longer active, and then fix them. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time, but the way you do it, when you find the rule that is creating problem, you want to click on the arrow next to edit and disable or delete. Okay. I can delete it if it's no longer be applied or if it's no longer relevant, right? And you want to make sure with that the auto adds are correct, and it's always going to be the same thing. If not, you can end up with a lot of problems. Okay, perfect. Back to banking. Like I said, once we categorize the credit card account, I like to go into the checking account and then start categorizing those. And you want to make sure that you match any kind of transactions that need to be matched. And if there is multiple transactions that has already a rule, you can select all of them and accept them all at the same time. But for those rules that I create, but I didn't put it in auto add, means that I have to take a look at it before I add. So I always take a look at it, okay? And you can set more terms to the rules. So if you have like AT&T for internet and AT&T for telephone, you can actually create a rule where if it is a certain amount is going to be a certain categorization, if it is going to be another amount, it's going to be another categorization. But then again, when that amount changes, you will need to update. You will need to update that rule. Okay, so as I select all these with the rule already applied, and I see that everything is okay, I can go ahead and click on accept. Okay. All right. And if for some reason you realize that those categorization are not correct, you can correct them. Okay, it's not the end of the world. You can actually click on categorize. And if you're doing monthly, you'll be able to click on where it says date here and isolate the date of the transaction that you may have just added, but you categorized them incorrectly. So you can click on the exact date, or you can click on the month, and then you can use the filters as well to look for whatever transaction. And the filters of the amount is one big one. You can just click on amount, it's going to filter by amount, or you can click on description or date. All those things can help you find the transaction that you may have miscategorized. Okay. All right. So once again, I hope that this was useful to you. Categorization is essential. You want to make sure you go through. Now, one more thing that I wanted to touch base with you. If you're not sure of what something is, when you click on the transaction, you can actually see the description under bank detail. Okay, and you can highlight this transaction right here and right click and then search on Google on the next tab, and then it's going to tell you what it is. Oh, it's an insurance company. It's not meals, it's an insurance company. So I can add the Hugo over here, and then I can even create a rule. I can even categorize here, insurance, and then I'm going to create a rule. I'm going to put Hugo, and I'm going to say out of checking, but I could do everything as well, right? Because it makes, and then I want to make sure I put the payee, okay? And it's going to categorize as insurance. I'm going to do auto add and save it. Now, let's suppose that this is a car insurance, and that car is not a company car. You're just deducting mileage. Instead of insurance, you want to categorize under owner's distribution or owner's equity, or pay. Owner's pay. That's owner's equity. Okay, owner's equity or owner's distribution is the same thing. Okay, perfect. So 11 transactions. So creating rules definitely can help you, but you want to make sure you are careful with those rules, and you want to make sure you categorize it according to um, to the to the accounting standard. So you want to make sure you categorize. If it is an asset, you want to categorize as an asset. If it is an expense, categorize as an expense. Anything under 2,500, if it is an expense, would be an expense, but categorize it correctly. Don't just put it under other business expense or miscellaneous expense, because if you put it under miscellaneous expense or other business expense, it doesn't mean anything. It's a bunch of baloney, and it is a red flag for the IRS. You want to make sure you put everything on the right place. Okay, don't just categorize as other or business expense, because that doesn't mean anything. So it's either going to be office expense, or it's going to be supplies and material, cost of goods sold, or telephone, whatever it is. Just put it on the right place. That's very important. Okay. All right, so that's it for today. So let's get back here. Okay. All right. So for those of you who are getting ready for the end of the year, being able to categorize everything correct is so important. Remember, the health of your business depends on you knowing exactly how you are financial, how you're doing financially, and where are referred to or compared to where you want to go. So that's how you can set goals. You can forecast what you can do. So make sure you keep up with your books, not just for your CPA at the end of the year, but mostly for your own information, so you know exactly where you are. And after you categorize everything, make sure you reconcile your account. Make sure every transaction is reconciled. And clean up your chart of accounts. So there's all that workflow. Clean up your chart of accounts. Make sure that everything is categorized correctly. Take a look at your balance sheet and your profit and loss. Make sure there's no negative amount, or there's in the profit and loss, except for discount or things that should be a negative amount, right? And on the balance sheet, take a look at the balance on your credit card, your bank accounts. Is that the same as it is on your bank statement? If not, that means that you have not categorized correctly. If you have categorized, if you have not reconciled, I'm sorry, that means you have not reconciled the account. If you have not reconciled the account, please do so, because the amount of your bank account statement should be the same as it is in QuickBooks, except if there are one or two transactions that didn't clear until the following month. Then there will be a small difference, but other than that, it should match exactly what it is on your statements, on your bank statement, on your credit card statement. Let me know if you have any question. For those of you working on getting your books ready for the end of the year, but get stuck somewhere, need a little bit further assistance, you can hire us on a one-on-one basis, so we can help you out with your particular situation. Our contact is down below. Please contact us, and we'll be happy to set up time so we can meet with you and give you a personal tutorial on what's going on with your books. How do we fix it, so you can get ready for not just for your taxes, but to take the next step on your business, take it to the next level. Thanks for watching. I am so happy to see you here and to spend this time with you. And I hope to see you again next week again. So subscribe to our channel, share with your friends, with your family, with the world. And until next time, keep on smiling.